Hello, my name is Jill Berry Bowen, CEO of Northwestern Medical Center, and your host of the NMC Health Beat Show, dedicated to discussing important healthcare topics of interest to our community. Today, I'm joined by Tom Conley. He's the Vice President of Human Resources and Organizational Development at NMC, as well as Jennifer Savage. She's NMC's physician recruiter. Today, we're going to be talking about recruitment and what it's like to seek out a job at Northwestern Medical Center. So welcome today. Thank you so much for joining me to talk about what it's like to get a job at NMC. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good discussion because I'm sure people are wondering, what's happening at NMC and what types of jobs are available. But before we get into that, let's talk about you and what is it that both of you do at NMC?
Well, I am the Vice President for Human Resources and Organizational Development, and I oversee all the HR functions, which include employment, labor or employee relations, benefit administration, as well as organizational development, which is the learning and developing our employees.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. Jennifer, you've been at the hospital for a while.
I have. I've been at NMC for almost 19 years now. I started my career in community relations, but I've been in the physician recruiter role now for about 3.5 years. So in my physician recruiter role, my job is in charge of recruitment and retention of physicians and advanced practice providers. And so what I like to tell people is that I'm in charge of recruiting our medical staff and also keeping them happy once they get here. So that's quite a challenge sometimes.
That's awesome. That's right. When you think about it, recruitment, when you hire someone, it's not just about bringing them in. It's like how well they fit.
Exactly.
And keeping them happy, and because happy staff, happy patients.
Well, and sometimes it's not only the physicians themselves, but it's also their families and how well their families get connected in the community. Their children, do their children fit in, and are they connected with activities that they feel comfortable with, and are they making friends, and how well they really fit here in our community.
Yeah, you're so right. We're not just recruiting the individual, we're recruiting their family.
Exactly.
As well. Very nice. So how many employees do we have, and what percent of them positions might be vacant at any one time?
Well, we just reached a milestone with employing our 800th employee recently, and at any given time we have approximately 40 positions open.
Okay.
So, and they range from anywhere from a housekeeper to a physician.
Sure.
Everything in between.
So what are the kind of the hottest positions going? What do you usually find?
Well, the hottest positions really vary. We always have a need for registered nurses. We always have a need for physical therapists. We always have a need for physicians. But we also have a need for patient registration individuals. We have a need for people that work in our food service as well as in housekeeping. And those positions tend to turn over quite frequently.
So you don't always need to have a doctor degree or a nursing degree. What education levels are you looking for?
Well, in some of the entry-level positions, those such as in housekeeping and food service, they generally required a high school diploma. All of our positions require at least a high school diploma or GED. When you get up into the higher level positions, such as a registered nurse, you could have an associate degree to be a registered nurse, or you could have a bachelor's degree to be a registered nurse at the hospital. Physical therapists, now that requires actually a doctorate degree, so people have to go on for a postgraduate degree.
So what are some of the challenges that you're facing as you're recruiting, whether employees or medical staff members? It can't be easy.
No. Recruitment, unfortunately, I spend the bulk of my time with recruitment activities, and I believe that has to do with the aging of our employee population, the aging of the population in general. As the population's aging, there's more of a need for healthcare services, and as a result, we need more staff.
Well, and I would add that in some of my recruitment activities, some of our positions are so highly specialized that sometimes there are so few of those specialties, so few of those physicians, for instance, around the country even. I'll give the example of our dermatology position. Here in Franklin County, we didn't have a dermatologist since the year 2000, and we just added Dr. Stephanie Niter this past year. That's 15 years without a dermatologist here in Franklin County. It took us that long to actually fill that position. And we sort of got lucky in that situation. Both she and her husband were looking for positions, and they both happened to find positions here in our community that fit their needs. So sometimes it's not just one person is looking for a position. It's, both people in a family are looking for positions, and it's a matchmaker kind of thing where it's a puzzle, and it all sort of works out that way. But sometimes it's just it's so highly specialized. Trying to find those specialties is very challenging.
Do you also, in the physician medical staff arena, have some hot positions that are like sort of always open, or that you're always looking for?
Yeah, on my recruitment plate, it seems like we're always looking for physician assistants and nurse practitioners, especially in our urgent care area. That seems to be an area where very often we seem to bring in new grads, and they stay with us for a couple of years as they get some really great experience. We train them very well in our urgent care area. We spend a lot of time giving them a really great orientation. We have Dr. White in our urgent care, and he spends a lot of time with our newer staff and really make sure they have great training. So they come out with really great experience, and then they tend to move on to their next step in their career. Sometimes it's with our organization, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's not. They may move on to a more specialized career down at University of Vermont, or another more specialty center.
Right.
But so we always tend to be recruiting in that arena. And we've also just had some incredible growth in that practice as well. So we've upstaffed to be able to answer those needs as well.
Great. So what does the recruitment process look like, and what are your tricks of your trade, and how do you do this?
Well,
where do you find these people?
The recruitment process all starts with an actual need. So we would have a department director or manager that expresses a need for a position. They have to have the position approved by our leadership team. Once that happens, we make sure that we have a up-to-date job description for the position, which describes all the duties and the responsibilities for the position. And then we post that position. And by posting the position, it's not necessarily the old-fashioned hang up a little posting within the hospital, but it's more of an electronic posting. And the electronic posting is interesting. We host our own website, and the positions are listed on there, as well as we purchase job posting boards, which are national boards.
Interesting.
And they go throughout the country posting positions. Sometimes if you're a individual looking for a job, you can register for these posting services. They're generally free to the applicants, and they actually get text messages and little buzzes on their phone when a job becomes available.
Really?
Yes. So
I had no idea.
Yeah. So that's how we reach passive candidates, which are very important to us. A lot of times the best candidates are ones that are not looking for a position. They just happen to hear about a job and apply for it. But we have that service, and then we start to accumulate applicants. All of our applications are taken online. We review them every morning. I have 2 recruiters that work within the Human Resources Department. They're reviewing all of the applications that came in overnight, and sort of sorting through those applications to get the best qualified applicants. Then those applications go to the managers for review as well, to make sure that we are bringing in the type of people that they want for the available position. Once they've sourced through the applicants, we start to bring those applicants in for interviews or phone screening interviews. A lot of times we do a phone screening interview first, and then the individual comes in for an interview. When they come in, after they come in for an interview, the actual first interview is through Human Resources, and then they are sent to the department manager for an interview as well. Depending on the level of the position, we have team interviews or departmental interviews where it's actually not just the manager, but people within the department that are interviewing those applicants. And then we move to what we call the reference checking phase. And that is if the manager likes the individual when they came into interview and the team is in agreement, we start looking at the person's background. We look at the references that the person supplied. We validate the education of the individual, and the their work history is also investigated as well. We conduct a criminal background check on the individual. We then, if all of those things work out well, we make a job offer, and then we bring the person in and they go through an employment physical, which includes a drug screen. And if everything works out at that point, we make a job offer.
Wow, that's quite a process.
It is.
It's important for people to know that too, so they're ready for that type of process.
It is, because
you're going to be serious about this.
You do, and it requires a lot of work on the applicant's part as well. It's not something that they can sit back and passively do. They have to assist in the process, because a lot of times it's difficult to track down past employers and individuals that are willing to give a reference. So there's a lot of background work that goes on there.
Great, thank you. That was a very thorough process. And is your process the same for medical staff?
Well, it is, but it's also a little bit different. You know, physicians don't always have the time to be looking online for positions and, you know, actively looking for jobs the way most normal employees do. So I do a lot of really active sourcing for physicians when I'm looking for candidates for my positions. I have a couple of database programs that I work within where I literally have a database that I can pour through and do some searching based on their demographic information of physicians that might meet my criteria of what I'm looking for. And then I can reach out to them and say, I've got this position here in Vermont. It looks like this might be a match for something that could be interesting to you. Can we have a conversation? And, you know, sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. Sure. But, you know, they may be a physician that went to school at the University of Vermont, or they're from Vermont originally, or they may have family ties here. But there literally are databases full of this information that I have access to and can, you know, reach out to physicians in this way. I also work closely with the residency program directors and reach out to them to talk to them about their alumni when I'm looking for candidates. I also attend career fairs that are designed for physicians. You know, there are a lot of different ways that I connect with physicians that are more than just posting a job somewhere and hoping they come to me. It's a little more active than that on my side.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, our time is flying, but I would like to know, because I want to make sure the viewers, so what's their takeaway? So if they want to apply for a job at the hospital, what do they do?
The most important thing that they could do is check out our website.
Okay.
And the website would provide all of our available jobs now, and if they see something that they're interested in, don't hesitate to apply for the job, or if you want to call the Human Resources Department, we can provide them with additional information.
That's terrific. And also, once you're there, so let's say I haven't got the education of a nurse, but I'd like to get started. So maybe I could come in and be a receptionist type, or work in patient registration, or housekeeper, or maybe the dietary. And then is there support inside the hospital which to grow into other roles?
There is support inside the hospital, and a lot of our
Yeah.
employees have grown within the organization.
Yeah.
Some of them have started out in housekeeping and food service and are now registered nurses at the facility or physical therapists, or in at least one case, an anesthesiologist at the organization. So
there's lots of opportunity just to
Absolutely.
get started. So any last words that you want to, tell the community about either working at NMC or how to get a job?
I would say NMC is a great employer, and I would say if you haven't thought about a healthcare career, please do so. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of job security working in healthcare.
The other thing I would add is
Thank you.
that we really have a great benefits program. We have a really great focus on
you, yeah.
on health and wellness, and our hospital really has invested in our employees with our Healthy You program. One of the best opportunities we have is we have a membership for employees to the Collins Pearly Sports Center for employees and their spouses, and I'm there all the time, and I see so many of our employees taking advantage of that, which is just such a tremendous benefit. And it's seeing our employees being healthy and really taking charge of their health, which is so important.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. The time has flown, and you've been wonderful guests. So thank you so much for sharing how to become employed at Northwestern Medical Center.
Thanks, Jill.
Thank you, Jill.
Yeah. So this is Jill Berry Bowen, CEO of Northwestern Medical Center. It's been great having you join us today. And when you think about employment at the hospital, it's not just nurses and doctors, however, they're very important, but everybody's equally important. And it may be someone who's not at the bedside, that job that may be the right fit for you. So check us out. Check out our website. Thank you for joining us.